privilege of living in this country. We pray that, well, that you're in charge of all things. You put people in power, you take them out, and you have your purposes, and just be with us this day. Help us to make wide decisions that would benefit this county in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Here.
Drummond.
Here.
Reggie.
Here.
Lynette.
Here.
Johnson.
Here. Approve minutes from October 21, 2020 and October 28, 2020 special meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I have a question on the minutes of the 28th. Commissioner Bragy's motion. I didn't think that was the motion that I seconded. But if that is the motion,
I don't have a copy. Where is it? It's already emailed.
The 28th? Oh,
I think it was a motion, Carolyn.
pardon me?
I think that was the motion.
I kind of listened to it yesterday. It seemed like, there was still a way, because I know Craig was questioning you on the motion. And it was basically if there were still things that were coming forward. I know the committee was allowed to pursue the avenues, but you were still going to go through the board for final, if I'm not mistaken.
We had a public hearing,
I
and
I know, but Craig had also brought up that if anybody else had anything else and the monies still weren't established yet, they could still come forward.
Yeah, I remember I was just questioning how would the public still have input into that committee?
we haven't closed the door on anything
Right.
like that. But
So what do you recall the resolution?
I thought that the motion authorized the committee to move forward with things. We didn't have to bring everything back and have another special meeting.
That is what I thought,
That is
too.
what I thought, yep.
Yeah, but
That's not what this says. To me, I don't interpret it that way.
Yeah, not really. Now that I read it. Yeah, we talked about it beforehand, you and I, about the motion that we'd like a motion to allow that committee to make
Make this
decisions,
Yeah.
and then when it's all said and done, bring it to us. And
That's what I thought the motion was, and that's what I
how this-
thought.
But
was
if there was
supposed-
if there was something new coming in,
Then
then you were gonna
meantime-
bring it back
Yeah,
to.
in the meantime, if there was more.
You were gonna
we
bring
would-
it in,
We
right.
had an open door on it.
Right, the
Right.
public would still have access and be able to get stuff
Absolutely.
into it, right?
Right.
And not only the public, but other entities, you know.
Yeah, when I say public, I meant
Okay.
the entities that are
All right.
able to
Right.
do it.
So what's the proper wording then?
Well, it's pretty much all good. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's just an interpretation. Huh?
I don't see
Well,
any
we're missing,
authorizations for us to move
yeah,
forward.
we're missing the key part of the motion, which was that committee could submit a list, get it approved, and then bring it back to us for final approval.
So instead of allow,
That's the
it'd
intent.
be approve, or,
Allow the
Approve.
committee to submit requests
no, approve,
to the CBDG. Right, you want the committee to be able to submit the request.
No, there's two options. I can ask for a special meeting every time we get a new idea that we want to submit, or we can let the committee move forward on it.
So,
Your choice.
well, what we were talking about was the committee would be allowed, we were giving the committee the ability to submit the request to the grant giver, get it approved, but then ultimately we were gonna have to have final approval. Once they do the pre-approval of what would be allowed, correct?
Right.
that was my understanding from what the video was showing yesterday.
Isn't that what you're saying?
That's much closer to it.
Yeah.
I think.
So maybe allow the committee to submit requests for pre-approval with final approval up to the board.
Yeah.
Does that sound like what?
Much closer.
Yeah.
So if the committee submits it to the grantor, and they say this is good, then they're gonna give it back to this board, we're gonna say, okay, we're good with it.
Right.
So, that's a pretty dramatic change of this motion, we should make another motion as to, I mean,
Let's
unless,
go on new business to strike this
Yeah.
one and make a new
There's
one.
nothing wrong with this motion.
Yeah.
It just doesn't accomplish what I thought we were going to accomplish.
I mean, I
Did we
don't,
lose any ground by striking this and then making a new one today?
Yeah, for as
So
far as
let's
I'm
just do that.
concerned, this can stand.
And just make another one to
It's
amend.
not hurting anything. It's not backtracking. It just
Okay.
isn't moving forward.
You want to amend your motion, Dan?
That wasn't my motion.
so he
Adam.
supported the approval of the minutes, you're asking for
No.
this to be taken out of the minutes.
No, she's not.
No, leave this in, but we need to make another one today.
If that happens, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Approval
This,
language.
this
Got
was
it.
not the motion from my perception.
Got it,
So, thank you.
okay,
Thank you.
so,
So there's no-
any other
You don't
discussion?
wanna correct if you're gonna make a new motion.
Right.
Correct.
Any other questions,
Nope.
concerns? All right. All those in favor, say
Yep.
aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Public comment, 3 minutes per person.
Can I just have some clarification on that? You did a motion to approve minutes. You're gonna make a new motion later on?
Yes.
Okay, so.
So as it stands-
The minutes as they stand.
Yeah.
Correct.
We did not amend the
You've
minutes.
got it.
Thank you.
Rather than try to go back to the video and see and try to figure out what it was said or wasn't, we'll just leave it and then correct it in the new meeting, or in the new business. Okay. Public comment. Start from right to left or left to right, or? I don't think anybody, Terry, you don't know, your presentations. You have, nope, okay. It's all you. That's just somebody out in the, outside the door.
There is.
Well, he's not. He's just a retirement guy.
It's just, I'm coming from the chamber, and we didn't know if anyone had talked about reducing the rent at all. We have checked all avenues and can't find any.
So, yeah, we brought it up last time. Adam, did you look into it at all,
We
or?
didn't, we're so working on the budget that we didn't at that last meeting, last Wednesday
come up?
afternoon. No, we didn't even bring it up because we had so much going on with the budget, so we can get it handled this week.
Okay. That's all I can give you. I mean, money's short, so.
Yeah.
That's,
And we understand.
Yep.
And we just want to be considered.
mm-hmm,
If you could just send it in to either get a hold of Delcona County Chamber.
mm-hmm,
Right.
yeah, okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Yep.
Any other public comment? Hearing none? Dave?
All right, I'm here on behalf of the Building and Grounds Department. As you know, one of the issues we've came up with this year is normally we have the snow plowing contract through Johnstown Maintenance for the last few years. Due to personnel shortages, they are not going to be shoveling big projects such as ours. They're trying to get it down to where they can do one truck and one driver, which means they did submit a bid just for the snow plowing and no snow shoveling. So we did take an ad out in the paper, try to find some other contractors. We only had 2 other bids submitted. One was from Stouts Plowing out of Barton City. They were offering to do the plowing and the shoveling. And then we had another contractor put a bid in for just doing the shoveling. So that way you could do like John's Home Maintenance would do the plowing, then Stouts would do the snow shoveling and snow removal on weekends and holidays and around the buildings and stuff. I'm recommending that we go with John's Home Maintenance again for the plowing only. His price is only slightly more than we charged last year. And then the Chosen Ranch offered to do it for almost the same price as John's Home Maintenance, $150 per shovel. That's around the Sheriff's Department, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, around this building here, plus down at the MSU building, all the shoveling down there on the entranceways. Stout Snow Plowing did offer to do both services, but he was basing it off of more per plow is what he wanted to charge. If you take his price over what we paid last year, because John's normally does a 16 plow contract, it would have been over $3,000 more if you had done the snow plowing and shoveling through Stout, which is a considerable difference. If we go through Johnsville Maintenance and Stouts, we'll be slightly a little bit higher, but I think we'll come in pretty close to what we've been paying the last few years for snow removal.
Is the Chosen Ranch one, they'll shovel, you said 24 hours.
Well, but I mean, if we get a snowstorm in the middle of the night, they'll come out first thing in the morning and clean up the driveways. If they really need to, they can come out and clean out the sheriff's department. That's our main concern with the snow removal right now, is trying to.
So are they gonna operate on a you request? Or
No,
is it-
basically, we're gonna do it like John's Home Maintenance. If we get more than a couple inches of snow, they're gonna try and coordinate with John's Home Maintenance is what he's gonna do.
Mhm.
If he gets the contract, he'd like to work with John's Home Maintenance, so that when John comes out and does the plowing, they would follow up by the snow removal, so that he's not putting snow in John's way, and then John's not pushing snow on everything that he removes.
So they'll shovel, usually only shovel when they snowplow.
After.
Cause you do stuff too. They're not gonna
Right.
come and do that every time?
No, I can do that kind of stuff in the afternoons and keep up with it throughout the day. What we're looking for is the early morning snow removal when there's.
When there's a real storm.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Alright, good.
that would be my recommendation.
And you know, the whole issue with this is that somebody's plowing and somebody's shoveling, and that sometimes never works out right, because the plow
Correct.
guy is getting it where he shouldn't be putting it, and you're just gonna have to deal with that, but, you
Correct,
know.
I like to work with both things, and John said he's willing to work with him on this. I'll contact him today and double check everything, what he said sounds good. What we're gonna do next year is, this kinda didn't come out until almost like 2 weeks before we signed the contract normally, for the fall snow plowing. He couldn't get enough help, sent me an email and said, I'm not gonna be able to do it this year, you're gonna have to find somebody else. So what I'd like to do next summer is earlier in the season, start putting ads out and find different bids. The problem is trying to find somebody on such short notice.
Right.
Because obviously we just had snow last weekend, which we were ill prepared for if we had stuck around. So,
Any questions else for Dave? Alright, we'll put it in new business.
what's that?
Anything else, Dave?
No, that's about it.
What about the kiosks? Did you want to bring those up or not?
Not really, because there's nothing set in stone on that yet anyways.
Alright, so if the board concurs, we'll put that in new business for the snow removal bids. Alright. Alright, thanks Dave. Go enjoy the
Kind of
70
emails that I received, and then you can put your John Hancock on those, and I can return them back to the prospective people.
Just sign the email
Yeah.
and sign this one? Okay. Alright. Alright, nothing else? So we're gonna have, Tony's not gonna make a presentation, he's gonna be on our new business, we have, okay. Alright, I guess we'll move into new business,
No, unfinished business.
or unfinished business, I mean, so, to add to the agenda, just the snow removal for, new business?
Anything else or not?
If you'd like,
Yeah, I'd like to discuss the kiosks again.
kiosk.
We're not at a point for discussion on that, I don't believe.
Are we ready to make any motions? I don't know. Nothing like
You already did, a week ago.
for the grant, right? Is that what we did, or what did we do a week ago?
You said you would go along with it a week ago.
We said we would
No.
approve to pursue funding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yes,
right.
Yeah.
Pursue funding, it wasn't, right.
but if we could get funding, you would go with it.
That wasn't applied in the,
No, it's not applied in the minutes.
No. All right.
And we need to discuss that today.
Okay. Kiosk and new business. Okay. Anything else?
well, nobody wants to hear this, but, I thought I asked to have the, budget meeting put on the agenda, last week, but it never made it on there. Does anybody have some time this afternoon to do that?
I do not this afternoon, but I can do it another day.
Oh, I'd rather all of us be here
Mhm.
to talk about it.
You don't need me. Yeah, I'm just a lowly.
You're not lame duck yet, man. Just
Oh, I
stay
am
with
actually.
it. Stay with it. You got, what did you take, 54 days ago,
Is
Gary?
it? I know.
So when can you
58.
do it? We need to get on this right away.
Okay.
Yeah, so what do you wanna do? Dan, you wanna try to do something this afternoon still, or
I mean, without.
talk
Craig,
afterwards and
we all
set something
need-
up for,
Well,
Monday
Craig
or
just
something?
we just need to decide when we all can get together. I mean, we have
Yeah.
to get together on this. We all have to be.
well, okay, then never mind what I said. We'll have discussion
So
on
let's
it afterwards.
let's all talk and figure out a schedule
Yep.
and get a day. Okay. All right. Nothing else? Okay. Oh, unfinished business. Mesa health insurance quote. All right, gentlemen?
You want us up in this area?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Good morning, everyone. Morning.
Do you need monitor?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I am Jim Baker. This is Bob Kwiatkowski of Mesa Insurance. I believe we're here to answer any questions on the quote, to give you a general overview about what Mesa is and probably what it is not. But I'll be happy to give you a quick overview, and then Bob, who's been with Mesa a long, long time, can probably go into a little more of the history and the details. I cover the entire lower part of the state in regards to municipalities for Mesa. Mesa came into existence years ago, basically as insurance for educational entities. We have over 60,000 members and their families that are currently on Mesa through the educational, through K-12 and through community colleges and universities, libraries, things of that sort. A few years ago, Mesa decided that they were going to dip their toe in the water of municipalities. Police, fires, township, courts, and other entities have been coming to Mesa to put in bids because of our insurance packages. My background, prior to taking this position, I retired as a superintendent of schools downstate. Prior to that, I was a police officer, firefighter, EMT for 12 years. So with that background, they asked if I would come in and work with municipalities as we brought in this market. Bob is one of 16 regional reps, and this county is in Bob's region. And so we piggyback a lot. We come together, we give presentations. What you will notice about Mesa, if you choose to go with us, we prefer not to Zoom. We'd rather be here in person. I'd rather drive the 3.5 hours to see you all than have to be on another Zoom meeting. We pride ourselves in customer service. If you chose to come to us, you'd have our cell phones. We get calls 24 hours a day. Our customer service division of Mesa is known nationwide and is stellar and always getting 5 stars for their service. And so when you guys put the bid out, we were able to make that deadline. But it's important to know what Mesa is and what it isn't. We are not an HMO. We are a PPO, meaning that almost all of our doctors, clinics, hospitals are accepted throughout the state and throughout the nation and throughout the world. We are underwritten by Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we look and feel very much like Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we are not Blue Cross Blue Shield. Mesa's its own insurance company. We're also underwritten by a second underwriter because we don't believe in putting all of our eggs in Blue Cross Blue Shield basket in case catastrophics ever go through the roof. And so that's a little bit about us. I know I don't want to ramble. I know your time is valuable, but any questions you have of the history or anything we can answer? Do you have any questions on the quote?
I think, yeah. Do you want to
Okay.
go over the quote? Is what you want to do?
Yeah, we can talk, yeah, I wanted to get.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I'm Bob Kwiatkowski. The only thing I had questions before we started talking about the specific quotes. You guys, are you PA 152?
We've opted out the last couple of years.
So you're opting out?
Yeah.
Because that does make a difference.
Yep.
Because one of the things that you'll see is when you guys right now have, it seems like one of your plans is a health reimbursement
We have an HRA.
account?
Yep.
Okay, so when you see our bids, we're really comparing apples to oranges. So I
Right.
bet you do have some questions. Why don't we get to those questions?
Adam, you got something?
Well, okay, so you have our information from our plan that we had
Yes,
this year.
I have it in hand.
So when you quoted it out, it was comparable plan.
Well,
I don't have the information in front of
We
me.
looked at what you had and tried to get something comparable.
Yep.
Except for the fact that we don't do health reimbursement accounts.
I see that, yeah. So you're just running a straight
We run it straight, so our premium cost is our premium cost, and that's why I asked about PA 152, because I'm finding that the more business we do with municipalities, if they opt into PA 152, they need to get away from those HRAs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have some cost out there insurance is all about risk.
Right.
You're carrying the risk
Mm-hmm.
Right.
under an HRA. I just want to make sure you understand.
Right, yep.
And what we quoted was a premium for insurance, and when it comes to the big risk, it's our money, not yours.
So why don't you just go right down through it here and go over it. So we've got our deductible, I mean, we've got your, you got in front of you? It's in the back page of that.
Get my last stuff back.
That page, this page right here.
And we're talking about this particular quote.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right here. So what we've quoted you, the first plan is a $1,000, $2,000, so it's a $1,000 deductible for a single, $2,000 deductible for the full family or two-person.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any questions about that? We don't have any co-insurance on that plan where we quoted you, and we pretty much matched your prescription drug plan. It's pretty close because we have a 3-tier plan, and so that came out pretty close to what you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
The other plan that we gave you was the $1,400, $2,800. Now this plan has a health savings account.
Now that one's not in this
Yeah, it's not
quote.
in this packet.
It's not-
I didn't see that HSA one.
Yeah.
Yep, it's on that quote, I'm
Should be the
sorry.
second one down.
It's right
Oh,
here,
I
this
see.
column where it
It's in
says-
the same.
I got it.
Got it.
So we quoted you two separate plans.
That makes more sense.
There's
I
a-
couldn't find the
Yeah, there's a
HSA.
choices, and then there's that ABC.
Is that what ABC is, your
It's a
HSA?
That's the HSA
Oh,
plan.
okay.
And we noticed that your HSA plan currently had a 10% co-insurance, so we matched that.
Yep.
And then again, we put the ABC drug plan in with this. Essentially, with the health savings account, the ABC drug plan, anything that's preventative meds, they're all free
Mm-hmm.
under this plan. Like my blood pressure medication is free. I'm not sure about my antipsychotics. No.
I hope it's recovered.
And there's a lot of benefits. If you understand health savings accounts, I use this plan myself. The pre-tax dollars and the money, I'm gonna get LASIK surgery. And so I put money into my HSA.
Right.
So I'm gonna pay for it with that. It's like getting 30% off. I didn't ever pay taxes on those dollars, so it's a nice plan.
Right.
What is the max for max pay for the employee
For the out of pocket.
on the HSA one? Max out of pocket on the HSA.
It's $3,400 for the single, $6,800 for the full family, or two-person and full family.
Okay.
I mean, for the group, it sounds like you've looked at many insurance packages. The state of Michigan under PA 152 did no one any favors if you're a two-person. It isn't
No,
as
they
if the
didn't.
state doubled a single rate and said now you pay.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
closer towards that full family,
Mhm.
which is a shame, but that's what we all have to live under.
And that, when you start looking at those out-of-pocket maxes, that becomes an apples to orange comparison. When we're looking at the types of plans you have, because under that HRA plan, what was it, $15,800, but the member was only paying $2,000.
Right.
And somebody was coming up, you were coming up
Right.
with the other 13, okay.
Right.
So we don't have that, and since we don't do it that way, with this first plan, less than 1% of the people that use us ever get to the out-of-pocket maxes. Because you only have the very small co-pays, and then unless you use a lot of prescription meds.
What's the out of pocket on the straight plan on the, what is that, a BI or choices plan?
The choices plan.
Max out of pocket?
Yeah, the out-of-pocket on the choices is for medical, 2,000 individual, 4,000 family. For prescriptions, 2,000, 4,000 as well. So that just falls into play if anyone unfortunately is on those high-profile drugs and,
So it's 2 and 4 for both medical and prescriptions.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are your monthly costs, premium
That's
costs
correct.
You have
to the
monthly
county.
cost.
Now, the other thing for the group just to consider is, while we were sitting and it was mentioned, money is tight. Mesa also, we have about 78 different variations of plans. So because you've opted out of PA 152 the past several years, I'm making up a scenario. If you were to say to us, here's the bottom line on what the county is able to pay for their employees, plus what you're going to have them contribute, if anything, and you gave us that total, then our job would be then to take those 78 plans and show you what your options are to meet that cost point for you as you are considering what to do next with your budget. I mean, the hard part for us is we could come in every time in a stack and show you every one of the details.
So we could opt in and set our cap
Correct.
of our
Right.
own.
Yeah, you
Say
have,
this is
And
what,
then we can meet that, we'll
Right.
try to meet that price point for you.
yeah. But I just want you to know that when we come in, we try to match your current as closely as what we can. It's tough when we're trying to compare to an HMO, like Priority or HAP. But what we can do is meet your price points if that's a more common sense route for you folks to go.
so you have other avenues to try to
Correct.
bring that
Correct.
monthly down.
Well, we just did for the Village of Mackinac City.
Mhm.
They're opting in. And under that other plan, when you have that cap on what you can spend on the employees, those employees in the Village of Mackinac City would have paid a lot of money because they didn't have the health reimbursement account, so all that money would have been coming out. So we got them to a price point. We could do the same for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then
We're
I
talking
think,
to
I think the strength of the PPO, that the model that we use is, I don't know how limited the Priority Health Network is in this part of the world, in this part of the county and the state, but the Blue Cross plan is saturated in Michigan at about 92%. We have found very few places in Michigan, or if you're out of state, doesn't get covered by MESA. It's a robust, I've had it for 28 years now. And 4 children later, it's great insurance for us.
So this would be what our school system has right now.
Actually, yes, they're one of my accounts, Alcona Schools, yeah. I was looking at it, I haven't been over there in a while because of COVID, but kind of looked at a wave when I went by, so. Yep.
Yeah, and that's a great point, sir. If anyone is related to an educator,
Yeah.
or somebody who has it, if you ask about the insurance, I think you're gonna get 2 thumbs up on the way that it's handled.
Define the or explain your 3-tier prescription.
Okay, what it is essentially the 3-tier plan puts the onus back on you. So if you're using, not the name brand, but the generic drugs, you're gonna have a straight cost. If you start using the name brand and there's a generic available, there'll be more cost shifted to you. And it is capped, there's a cap on there,
Yeah.
like 206, the tiers are whether you're using the generics, or whether there's a generic drug available and you're not using it, or whether there's no generic available and you have to have the brand name. So those are the tiers. And more of the cost is going to be shifted to the user.
Does the insurance dictate when I get to go to level 2 or level 3? Does my doctor?
It's based on what your doctor writes.
Okay.
So if your doctor writes dispensed as written, I think is what you're asking, or he wants you to have the name brand, we'll just make sure you've gone through the DRAMS process, that your doctor has tried. We just ask.
So how long is that trial period in each level?
Maybe a month, maybe a couple months to try out for the efficacy of the drugs. I mean, some drugs you don't even know whether it's working for you, or your doctor can't say for a month or so when they switch your meds. So there is the process. And every insurance company does that, so.
The other thing that I would encourage you to look at, just to make some comparisons, is on the back of each of those plan sheets, which are they look like this. If you take a look at such thing as hearing aids, bariatric, chiropractic, manipulations and whatnot, extremely robust for your employees. 38 visits a year, and what's nice about that is if you find a chiropractor that also does the chiropractic massage as part of it, you can have your employees can have that manipulation and the massage therapy, and that counts as one of the 38 visits. It's not 2. We have a lot of our teachers, a lot of our maintenance people, I use it. It's a wonderful benefit. The hearing aid is really robust. You get about 1,900
1900 an ear.
per ear every 3 years. It's a heavy coverage, because we know what our employees are going through as all of us age, quite frankly.
All right, any other questions?
I don't.
So if we were to say, we've got a hard cap, we're gonna be at X dollars.
Mhm.
We get that to you, what's the turnaround time to get us the plan?
Oh, we can, well, once, if you go with the 80/20, or if you go with the hard cap,
With
or
hard cap,
whatever version.
probably a hard cap.
Yep.
Okay.
So then Bob and I would just put pencil to paper, and we would have that, we'd have your options to you within,
Hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have
That's what I thought, you got the numbers already. so
Yeah,
it's
We've
good.
already generated numbers for
And
Oklahoma
we know,
County.
and
So.
we know what the hard cap numbers are for 2021.
Yeah, you just tell us whether you're gonna follow the state mandated hard.
Right, we would probably not, I mean, we've been doing that, that's why we've been opting out.
Right.
We could actually go the other route and set our own hard cap.
Yep, you certainly can,
Yeah.
and then come up with
Yep,
that.
that's your right.
It's easy, and again, Bob is 2 hours that way, I'm 3 hours that way, we'll come and work with you. You know, that includes if we go down that road, the open enrollment for your people, we're here for them, we take them through, you know.
If we ever get back to normal, I mean, I have accounts up and down the highway here, so with all the schools.
So our clerk's office doubles as our HR office, so
Okay.
they're gonna deal with who and where. They're gonna, as, if they have questions, which they have questions a
With
lot.
Stephanie, we've been emailing back and forth
Here's some
constantly.
Business cards.
Yep,
Mhm.
you know, Miss Eller she's been wonderful. Trina, you know, will be our other contact. And I think you'll find from us, Bob and I answer within,
Well,
4 to 6
typically
hours.
what it is, isn't it, like billing questions? We've had some issues with that, right? With bills, people not getting, I mean, like, it wouldn't be necessarily plan
No,
problems, it's more
right.
of
Typically,
invoicing.
that's what I deal with, because there's 18,000 different codes that they have out there for the people who are sitting in the doctor's offices. Quite often, what I find is that they miscoded it. And so if your employee or the office calls me, I make a call and I say, that's probably miscoding, we have that fixed within a day.
Mhm.
Yeah, we deal with that a lot, because there's so many different codes, and new people always coming in and out of those offices.
it's pretty amazing. I mean, because we're so large and we have a lot of plans, many members. They call the care center, the customer service center, and they answer within, our average is within 25 seconds, and they get that thing resolved. They're getting hold of us, they're getting hold of our management. You know, we have special things that happen, you know, people hit a calamity, they hit a
Sure.
catastrophe,
Yep.
and they need it now.
Yep.
And that's our job to make sure that's happening, or we're getting authorization. We have care practitioners in all specialty areas, because we have a lot of our people with cancer and, you know, with catastrophics
Generics and discounts, got access to those through,
through the ASA.
is that what it's through, is ASA it's called? So,
Well-
I mean, if you got any discount type drugs, I mean, our plan we have now, there's some options, I think, that have, so they've got like a clearinghouse, and they'll get, if you're on something that's really expensive, they'll see if they can get you discounts, coupons, whatever.
Well, yeah, we do the tiered, we do the mailing RX, we
Right.
do.
Okay.
For example, if somebody knows they're on this high profile, and they're willing to pay for the 60-day. Many of our drugs get the next 30-day as part of the 60-day package, things like that.
Okay.
And then with the Affordable Cares Act, there's just, that list continues to grow and grow, what drugs are included based under the current, you know, what we all know as Obamacare. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll know more literally today or tomorrow,
Yeah.
and we'll see.
Or the next day.
We'll
The day
see
after that.
what carries forward. But what we've experienced for the last several years under that plan is that as those drugs become more and more necessary, then they get added to the automatic that's free or part of the plan, which has really helped out families.
And one of the nicer things that I've seen, one of the reasons I like working with this company so much, is that Blue Cross has said no to a certain new prescription. And then when the member calls us, we go through Mesa and we'll say yes. Because one thing I need you to understand about Mesa is we're not an insurance company per se. We're a BIBA. It's a Voluntary Employee Benefit Association, so we have different rules and guidelines. We're not for profit. We don't get commissions. Okay, we're salaried employees.
Oh, he said it was the same.
We're paid well enough, we're okay, but we don't get commissions, and any money that we have left over next year, claims versus how much, income versus how much we had to pay out, we use it to buy down the rates. If we don't have to pay any shareholders, I think it's important to know that.
I'll forward Stephanie and Trina that
Yeah.
flyer. It's very interesting to see where Mesa puts in millions of dollars, and that statewide average goes from an 8% increase down to a 4, down to a 2. We've had years where it's been under 0, where monies have gone back. So it's important for you to see that, because in my estimation, you folks need to insulate yourselves as an entity so that you can give your employees great benefits, but at the same time protect yourselves.
Sure.
If you ever, gosh forbid, have a bad year. Because under your current system, I'm guessing if you ever had 2 catastrophes, 3 catastrophes, in your self-fund, it's going to go through the roof on you. And that's what we want to try to help you avoid. And we can.
Yeah, essentially risk our money, not yours.
Right.
Trina, yeah, I was gonna say, do you
Can you
wanna?
guys explain what the employee cost would be for both plans?
Well, right
Well, it depends on what we set.
now it
Right.
depends on
So
what,
the plan cost is right there, that's
What you-
per month.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the monthly cost, the premium cost that we gave you.
Right, and so we don't know yet until we get direction how much the county would want to pay.
So, I mean, if you wanna, what we have done is 15%.
Okay, so, I guess maybe we could ask them to quote us that, so we could
Cool.
compare.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah, put the math,
So use 15, the
we have
employee,
done 15%,
the employee's paying 15%.
15%.
Okay, yeah, I can run a model for you and email it back to those guys this afternoon. I have to get to my computer, but
Yeah.
it'll be this afternoon. I can run that model and send it over to you.
Based on the 2021
Send it
hard
to you.
cap?
Yeah.
Is that what you like?
Yep, with 15% employee cost
Okay?
on these premiums.
That's
I mean,
easy
you
enough,
can
'cause
do
I've got a program and throw it on a spreadsheet for you.
And then again, Trina, and you can help all of us remember, if we think those are coming in too high, or you're looking at it and you say, well, we want to beef that up for the employees, we have all those options. We have many choices, plan options, ABC options that we can help take the group through.
I'll run 15% and 20% for you.
So I
in case
know-
you decide to go 80/20.
Yeah, so, and I know you guys can do that, but if I wanted to do it, I'm just gonna do 15% on these costs.
Actually, that's all the computer's
That's all you're
do.
gonna do, okay.
That's all I'm gonna do.
Making sure.
But I just have a spreadsheet to do it. I don't even have
Right.
to do the calculation.
Okay.
Right.
And again, those quotes that you're looking at, that doesn't change. And if I'm not mistaken, I was given authorization. Those are quotes through the end of 2021.
Okay,
So I asked our management, are you okay? Correct, Bob?
Yep, does
Yep.
say that, yep.
So I went to management and said, we are trying to get this group. They are looking to do something different. And Mesa is progressive enough to say, we'll set those rates to the end of not this year, next year. Because whenever you decide, here's what will happen. You guys will be going through budget. All of a sudden, then it's going to become a time issue. You have to give priority, if you choose to go with Mesa, a out. They have, a certain time, probably 30 days, maybe 60. I haven't seen it. So that doesn't matter to Mesa. Those are good through the end of 2021, not 2020. So we went ahead and put those out there. That's the strength of having a huge pool of employees and people that we service. You get absorbed into that rating for not only your region, but for the state of Michigan as well. So.
all right, anyone else have a question?
No.
Trina, you good?
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day, everyone.
You have an email that you want me to send it to you? Should I just-
All right,
Send it to staff, yeah, that's great, thank
Okay.
you so much.
That'll be the
I would
second.
assume that it's
Thank you.
way premature to see any motions here, so I don't think we're gonna do any business on this. I'll take this as information only and
Right.
get it back to us. Yeah, we'll do some, so Trina, if you wanted, I mean, he'll send it to you, but if you just take 15% of those numbers, that's gonna be, that's what we've done this year.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, any other,
Still running, have it back this afternoon, so.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you. No, you have a great day.
all right, not hearing anything else on that, new business. Claims,
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between October 21st, 2020 and November 3rd, 2020 for check numbers 142261 to 142406 and e-check numbers 1419 to 1429 for a grand total of $1,859,502.63.
Second.
moved and supported, discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Manette,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Goffey.
Yes.
I think, unless you've got her own, you got your own or you want to use that one? You want your own?
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Anything else from finance at this time or not? Is good?
No.
Okay.
Oh. We just have, well, the treasurer's thing, that's on the list already, so we're.
Okay. Tony? You there?
Sir,
Come on in. Say your last name.
Rajanovich.
Rajanovich. Tony Rajanovich from MERS, here to give us all the good news.
Yes, I was asked to be here to review recent changes. And,
Do you want a table, Tony?
no, this is,
You good?
I spoke on the phone with Trina,
That's me, yes. Hi, Tony, nice to meet you.
thank you.
and I went through a little bit what was going on in the previous, before we made this carve-out change. And so once, what we did before we did that, is that, you had one division that had a required contribution of 267%.
That would have been our EMS.
That was that old Division 13, which is now new Division 13, which is EMS, same person that was in it is now back in it.
Mhm.
What they did is they took the liability that was associated with the inactives, and they placed it into Division 1. That's why Division 1 now went from a 13.51 or 13.99, depending on days in and openings, to 60-some%. So what you did is you took retirees from 13 and moved them to 1. Based on the information we have, that's what you wanted to do because that's where they should be, that retiree, those retirees and the liability associated with them should be in that division. Correct?
Right.
Good.
Correct.
So, and then we've got Division 2 with the right people and the right retirees in that division. That changed your cost a little bit. Overall, your costs annually are about the same. It's just that Division 1, which now I believe covers 3 or 4 departments, right? Now I have to pay 60% of payroll. Now it's 60% of payroll, and there's 6 actives in there now?
Yes, approximately.
Yeah. So it's a high percentage, the dollar amount is relatively high to those 5, but overall, required contributions to the county are basically gonna stay the same. So, any questions on the actual carving out and what we've done there? Because I know that Trina asked me to go through the annual valuation a little bit to get you up to speed on that. I just wanted to, that's sort of what happened there, and I just wanted to make sure that that's what you wanted to do, because we did what you asked us to do.
Mhm.
All right, we're good there?
Yeah, well,
guess-
the main thing is what you said, is our annual cost really didn't change. We just shifted around where they're coming out of. And this is all one fund, general fund. What we did do is take the load off of an outside fund
Mhm.
and shifted it over to the general fund, where it was supposed to be to begin with.
Where it should have been.
That's
Right.
exactly what happened.
But overall cost nothing changed.
Basically the same.
Right. Yep. So now you're gonna move on and tell us, what's this all gonna cost as we go forward, right?
Well, see, this is what we're dealing with in
What page are you on?
here in this county. So, I'm going to go to, page 1 doesn't help anymore, or table 1, page 10, really doesn't help anymore because we changed the divisional amount, but
Yeah.
the overall amount's gonna be relatively the same. Did you provide them this new sheet for the new divisions and the old divisions, the changes that happened?
They are familiar with it.
Yes, we don't need, I'm not gonna go over it, but if you wanted to then try to compare and see how we shifted things around,
Mhm.
take this and take out the old, put in the new, and then you'll see that they're relatively the same and where that is. So one of the things that we have to realize for this, for the county here, is that for those employees that are left, those divisions that are left open in defined benefit, we have to fund them. And, well, one of the things that we can do is go to page 17, table 5. Now you guys have the 19 or 18 version?
We have 19.
That's fine, I'll go to that one too. Because that's telling you what you have to start paying in July of next year. But that's just more accurate data. And so, that table is on page 17. So if you look, we paid out in 2019, just shy of $1 million to your retirees. So, you put in about $622,000, the county did.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that to keep moving the system forward and gaining funded position and while funding your retirees, you're dependent upon gains in the market. Because your required contributions for 2021 are gonna be roughly 850 to 890,000. I can't remember if you guys have phase-in or no phase-in.
No bigger.
So no phase-in, about 890.
What page are you on there on that one?
Huh?
See, what page did you get that? So what were we?
Page 9. So what you have to pay in based on this report, this is not exactly the same as the new numbers, but it's very close. It's 890,000.
So, and what was 18? Do you have that handy or not?
It was right there.
I do.
859,000, right?
18, what it was at 18
Yeah.
was
594.
No.
less, but not by much. It was about 115,000 less,
Okay.
all right?
So 780
And
something.
and the reason that is twofold. One is, we changed assumptions on it. We said your liability's here, we moved it up here. By making our assumed rate of return go down from 7.75 to 7.35. Just that change alone causes the calculation to go up.
So before we get any further, I want to say that again. We're looking at about $100,000 increase from 20 to 21 on our contribution overall.
And the number one reason for that?
Yeah.
Is due to assumption change.
Yep.
Yeah, there's additional service. Yes, the assumed rate of return was less than, the actual, the smooth rate of return was less than the assumed, but the number one reason was assumption change.
Mhm.
And so, when you look at table 5 and you're paying out more than what you're paying in,
Right.
you're absolutely dependent upon
Returns.
returns.
Yep.
And so we got 14 point something return in 2019. We only recognized
4.75, I believe, or 5.75, let me see. 4.77, because of smoothing. You take 1/20th of each year's gains or losses, and then we put a number together when we average them out. So that's where we are. Number one reason returns are that way, especially 2014. What we did in 2019, and we only got a 14% return, is our benchmark was scheduled to get about a 20%. So every year we have a benchmark, and we set that benchmark, and we're always right next to that benchmark. If you average it out over the long time period, we've done better than our benchmark. However, our consultants, our internal investment managers really believe that after a 10-year market run, that they want to do some active management and prepare themselves in case the market's dipped, that they could then buy on the dip. Basically buying stocks at a discount. They didn't know what was going to happen. COVID happened. 30% drop in stocks in end of February, 1st of March. We were overweight in cash. We took that money. So when we look at it as a date of time, MERS was not really good at 12/31/2019. But then when you get to the end of February, when everyone else dipped, we only dipped about 18% because we were overweight in cash. We bought the dip. We got back up quicker than the S&P 500, quicker than the other indices, so that where we were able to lose less because of that strategy, and then get up faster, so that we would then still have our money back in cash, waiting for the next buying opportunity. So when you look at it that way, the point in time of only getting 14% when our benchmark said we should have gotten 20% in 2019, if you would extend it on further and you put the 2 years together, you'll see that we would average our benchmark because of that active management strategy. So that's what, but when we set rates, we can't
say 18%.
we don't know what's going to happen in the future, so we can only say this is what we did, and we show you that we made 14%, not 20. We'll show the results of 20 in the next annual valuation, and our 10-year is over 8%. It's just that our smooth rate of return is at 4.77. And when you have an entity like the county that's dependent upon market returns and us not changing assumptions, when we change assumptions and our 5-year smooth is at 4.77, it causes contributions to go up. Funded position stays flat, if anything, going down. Where we show you if all the assumptions are met going forward, that would be page 7. You guys have color copies or black and white copies?
Black and white.
Black and white. All right. On the top graph is a solid line that's going up on an angle. That is the 2019's numbers. And then right underneath that, you see a dashed line. So that's showing you that you're slightly less funded, but then they meet up somewhere in the next 10 years. It shows you that you're going to be fully funded at the 2038 annual valuation year, which will tell you what your required contributions are for 2040. That's if all the assumptions are met between now and then. The dashed dot line, that's if our actual rate of return over this time period is 5.75 instead of our assumed rate of 7.35. You would see that you're more like 50-something% funded currently, and you still get funded in the same amount of time because we have an amortization policy that will force that date.
You're going to get funded, but it's going to hurt.
That's right. And the hurt is shown on the second.
Right.
Where it stepped down like that because some of your divisions have different amortization schedules because of when you closed and went to defined contribution. And that's why it's not a straight line in here. So the solid line is your required contributions, as you can see, in about year 2024, your required contributions are gonna dip down a little bit. The reason they go back up is because we have baked in raises to the employees that are remaining in defined benefit.
Mhm.
So then it goes back up, there's a little dip it down, and that's because of one of a change in one of a smaller division, probably when retirees happen or something like that. Continues to go on up until you get to that 2038 when it peaks. For those groups that remain in defined benefit, your normal cost on an annual basis in $2040, which you would actually pay out in 2040 if all the assumptions are met, are about that 380,000. So, I don't know, is that 600,000 less than, or
Right.
500,000 less than we're expecting you to pay now?
Yeah, but in 2041, $400,000 might be worth, maybe a whole different with inflation.
That's taking in.
Oh, that's taking in inflation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That would be $2040.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did say that. I'm sorry.
So that's what that means.
Okay.
However, like I said, if we, because of monetary policy and stimulus and all the other stuff that keeps, it's a great time to buy a house or a car because interest rates are so small. The bond market, which funds most pension systems, that's secure value there. We still have to have your money in bonds because we still need to pay your retirees. We can't just put everything in stocks because we're paying out almost $1 million just here for the county, to retirees. So we have to have somewhat liquid, somewhat attainable money so that we can get there. And therefore,
If that doesn't happen,
if 735 doesn't happen, because that's high in today's terms. 30 years ago, that was low.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't happen and it's more like 575, you can see what your required costs are going to be, and they're going to stay over that $1.2 million every year, going up as high as 1.4. Then they drop back down.
I mean, today, if we were at 535, we'd be at $1.3 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so this is a good roadmap to where you're going, where if we hit our assumptions, if we don't hit the assumed rate on our returns, that can show you what's going to happen. As I said to the group in the many times that we have met, that plan design changes don't wipe away your unfunded accrued liability, it changes your normal costs. Your normal costs for most of your plans are on page 9. The first column is total normal cost. If you didn't have member contributions, you can read those numbers off. Since you have 2 divisions paying 3%, that reduces those divisions by 3%. So you can see what your normal cost, which if you were 100, that means if you were 100% funded and all assumptions are always met, that's what the cost of the plan is. So, when you evaluate and look at new plans, you look at the normal cost for what you think your budgets can handle, and then if you want to deal with risk and get away from risk of unfunded accrued liability, that's where you have to move into a defined contribution plan. Because eventually you'll wipe out that risk of, assumptions not being met.
Right.
So tell us a little bit more, since we're on this accelerated recovery on our unfunded liability, right? That's what we're doing.
We
somewhat.
Are, and it's
But I mean, because of that, so I think at one time there was a thought that if we closed to new hires, we were gonna increase our costs. Is that true or not? It used to be true. Is that a fact, or it doesn't matter if it used to be? Today, if we closed everybody to new hires, it's not gonna change.
Your amortization policy would stay the same.
Okay.
It used to be accelerated.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But because we've been shrinking, we started shrinking back in 2005 from a 30-year down to a 20. But because of 2008, we held it where it was for 3 years without shrinking it. So now in the year 2020, if you look in the back pages here, we are at, for your fiscal year starting
Page
2021, we're at a 19-year amortization.
So if we were to say today, close everybody to all new hires, and we go back to our graph, we're gonna see that dip down out there at 2031 a little more dramatic than that little hiccup. Cause that's gonna start where our DCs are gonna start kicking in?
What
Like-
you'll see is, if your defined contribution was less than your current normal cost,
Mm-hmm.
yes. If you put in, like if you go to page nine,
Mhm.
and you see these normal costs, and you hired everyone in at that same total normal cost, and all the assumptions were met going forward,
You said, excuse me, page 9?
page 9,
Yep.
and I said table, I meant page 9, thank you for correcting me. If their normal cost was the same in defined contribution, and all the assumptions were met, that graph would look exactly the same. Because we don't know the future, so they say all assumptions are gonna be met. If what happens is, 10 years down the road, and you have 10 years of new hires in defined contribution, and the assumptions aren't being met then, what will happen is you may see increases, but less than what you otherwise would have, because you have 10 years of new hires that aren't in the system.
Right, right,
Right, no, yeah,
So you've got rid of the
You're-
risk of unfunded.
right, you're covering your upside.
right.
Absolutely, and so a defined benefit system, the normal cost is only if all assumptions are met. And the biggest, Grand Traverse County, they decided, well, let's see if we could maybe even leave MERS to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you paid attention or talked to anyone from that. They brought in some experts to talk to their board. And one of the gentlemen, his name was Ira Sommer, he's from a company called GovInvest. And he's an actuary, and he came in and he reviewed 49 other pension administration firms that have the same fiscal year end that we do. And he found that when he graphed them all, there were fractions of a percent different from each other, from the top to number 1 to number 50. Just fractional differences. And fractions mean a lot when you're talking about millions or billions of dollars. But they were all real close. And they all went like this. And so he said that that's relatively the same. They had to at least have $1 billion in funds. And then they had to have the same year end as us. Then what they also showed is that he talked about almost every pension system, not just those 50, but almost every pension system since the market declines, of 2008, the Great Recession. Every pension system has decided to reduce their assumed rate of return. Some have gone deeper than MERS. I think the average is 7.2 across the nation. MERS is at 7.35. And I think a lot of that has to do with some of the uniqueness of our plan. I mean, coupled with our reduction of the assumed rate of return, we raised our life tables. So we made two things very more conservative than they were previously. Plus, our amortization policy is to shrink it down, so we're forcing you to pay it off sooner instead of a revolving 30-year. It's like, I've said this before, you buy a house for 30 years and next year you take that mortgage and you refinance it for 30 more years and you keep doing that every year. We don't do that anymore. We used to do that, so did every other pension system in the nation. So because we've done those changes, it works when we do the calculations at 7.35, but that may change depending on how, interest rates are going to be kept down by monetary policy. If in the markets, if they change and they start to creep back up, the 7.35 may stand. If we keep seeing this long extended period of interest rates extremely low, you may see us have to correct that assumed rate of return again.
So, I mean, I don't think there's anybody here that's pointing a finger at MERS and it's pension ability to fund the pension. And it's difficult for everybody to do that now. I mean, it's hard to see where those dollars can come from. So basically, close the new hires. We'll see a little, obviously, eventually we'll see that benefit, but nothing anytime soon.
15 years.
How many of your divisions are closed now?
I think we've only got 2.
And 3.
3?
So the ones that remain open are Division 1,
Division 11,
Division 12,
Two,
Division 14,
there's still some
20,
too.
and 21.
yes. So those divisions are still open. So if you would close those, and then, so when we looked at this for you last time,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that we recommended is that because of your high payout, that I just read this book last night. They would want to accelerate the divisions of 11, 20, and 21 to a 15-year amortization. Because, as you saw in your 2018 valuation, when you had high liability to only one active, we knew that Division 13 was going to have to be 3 times the minimum. So, to keep that from happening, I don't know if things have changed significantly enough to where if we ran, because this projection was run in February of 2019. If we ran it again and for you to look at defined contribution for these open divisions now, if they would come to the same conclusion, most likely they would,
Yeah.
that they would want, so instead of it being at 19 years, they may say they want it at 15 or 14 years.
That's gonna be a marginal increase in
A
the.
marginal increase, but not for all of your divisions, but for those 3. Unless you had additional assets that you could put in that would then allow you to have the 19-year amortization.
15 and 17. Yeah. Okay. Just tough stuff.
It
You
is,
know, trying to, I know you got that everywhere you go, I'm sure. Is anybody doing really good?
The groups that have kept their benefits multipliers low from the get-go,
Yeah.
those that kept a 2% or lower multiplier and never changed it, but entered the system years ago, and those that have continued to put in additional assets. But most of our counties all improved their benefits because when you did the analysis, you went, look, we're overfunded.
Yeah, we got lots of money, let's do it.
Therefore, we don't have to pay into the system because we're getting overfunding credit. So let's give something to them, and if we give them a benefit improvement, it's not money. It's just, it became money later on.
Yeah,
down the road.
it's now,
Right,
it
it's
is money now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But at the time,
that's
it
right,
wasn't.
that's right.
Right.
Because the assumption was that we were gonna hit all these numbers, and
Yep.
then things changed.
That's the best I've ever heard that explained, you explained it very well. Yep. It didn't cost money then, it does
No,
now.
it
Yeah.
costs now.
That's like when people say, let's do a buyout, we're gonna save this much money here. Well, that's because just on the financial side of actives, they do see a decrease. But when you put them all over to the retirement side, they forget to add back in the additional retirement cost projected out on a worst case, best case and probable case scenarios. And they forget to add that back in.
Yeah, when we first looked at that, that was one of our, it kind of made it a little more interesting. So, and that comes under normal costs, right? If you were to bond out, buy out, do whatever,
Well, what
pay
that
off all
does
your
is-
unfunded liability off, but tomorrow the markets crash and all of a sudden your
you get
unfunded
normal
liability,
cost Plus UAL.
yeah.
If the markets do great, then you have normal cost with, we don't give you credit now unless you get higher funded, but, because of what we've learned from the past.
Yeah,
But that's what would happen.
yeah, you're still exposed
Yes,
for a while.
you're exposed as long as you have people in the defined benefit
Yeah.
system, either working, vested, deferred, or collecting a check.
All right,
And as I said before, once you no longer have members in the system, if there's any assets left over, we write you a check, or you use it to fund your defined contribution.
it's just one of them things you gotta start
It's gotta
sometime.
start somewhere.
It's a
You know,
difficult.
there was only one place, that and I went to, it's Osceola County, they had a cap on their employer contributions. So then the increases have all been going to the employees.
Mhm.
They're now required to pay over 20% for one of their divisions. By actually staying in the defined benefit plan, actually because of this. Because if they go to the defined contribution, they can't have a cap anymore.
Right, right.
It's not allowed. So the happy medium in between is bridging down to a lower multiplier, having an employee cap, and they sort of share it that way up through the next 20 years. And they could always then, at that time, put new hires into something else. But that's the only time I've seen where
But they had
not
that.
going to defined contribution
Right, right.
actually reduces the cost of the employer.
That's creative. Somebody was smart back in
Well,
the day.
I would say that it's an HR issue now. Who can hire someone that wants to pay 20%
Mm.
of their money?
Yeah.
And then the employees are saying, I gotta find a new job, we can't afford it, so the employer's going, well, I can't afford the unfunded accrued liability.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's an issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any questions?
Anything here? Anybody? Guess you answered everybody's question.
That's right. Obviously, we're available, phone calls and emails.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your question. If there's anything else that we need to do, let us know.
Just get out there and make the thing make more money.
That's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Make more money.
And we're in a situation where it's kind of hard to figure that out.
Yeah.
And because we're such a mature system, we have to have a fair amount of cash on hand. And if we don't, then we just won't be paying retirees. We put them at jeopardy, and then that's the number one principle of the thing. First, we gotta pay retirees,
Yep.
and then we gotta figure out ways to downside protect, participate in the upside as much as we can. As always, it's a pleasure meeting with you.
Tony, thanks for-
I really
Tony.
appreciate
Thank
you
you.
putting on the mask.
Yep.
It means a lot to me.
Yep.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tony,
Bye-bye.
Tony, I do have a question.
I tell you what, it's just, gotta just close it down and do a defined contribution. Just-
So speak up good and loud so we can all hear it.
What I'm saying is that there's just no way, employee contributions, 622,000, payout benefits, 966,000,
So remember on that, so that 890 that we're gonna pay this year, that's not just us, not just 101.
no, I know
Right.
that. yeah.
And I wish, Trina, that, we talked about that, didn't we? How we could ever bring out 101,
Separating
So
the
that-
retiree and kind of liability.
yeah, so that we knew on 101 what the cost was. And not, cause
But it's
that,
predominantly 101.
well, but if we only went up 100,000 from last year to
Maybe you
890,
can, please.
so that was on page 9. So if we went up 100 to 890 this year, so that means last year we were at 790. But I know 101 was only about 480, right? 490? So that's 300,000 of liability that goes somewhere else of that number.
No, I think, for me, that's a misconception.
Yeah.
Some of it does, but the majority was misrepresented.
So will it change this year? Yeah, it may, right? It could.
Hmm?
Because we pulled some of those ones from EMS back in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've got 911 also.
We moved some of that.
That's what he said, the overall cost is similar.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So-
the general fund's gonna get hit
No,
harder.
it's hitting hard.
Yeah.
Because you've got a fund that's not paying. the
Hold
bill.
on though, because we were paying already.
We
General
were
fund was
part
paying
of the
EMSs.
General fund out of EMS a
Yes, we
while
were.
ago.
Yeah.
Because of the carve out, they had to calculate the wages of the one and only active employee in that plan at the time.
We were
With
paying-
all the other retirees to separate that.
About
That's why it
100
had to be carved out.
We paid 58,000 for EMSs.
About
Out of general fund.
160% of the pay.
Right, that was the
Yeah.
percentage that the plan cost with the retirees and the one active employee.
Right.
So when we did the carve out, we had to recalculate that to figure out what it should be charged to.
So is it gonna wash?
Well,
Because we're not gonna have that cost in that line item anymore, that 58,000.
yeah, it
But it's gonna
will.
come back into clerk, it's gonna come back into
It will,
treasurer.
it's a billing issue now.
Yeah.
It's what line item do you wanna pay that retiree unfunded liability out of?
So that still keeps us at 480, 500 on general fund.
Close to it.
Yeah,
So, and we're gonna be we were at 790, so.
But I think this is,
but the increase next year,
Yeah, it's gonna be 890, so it's 100,000 up if general fund takes on probably 3/4 of that increase. So we're gonna see a 75,000 probably to general fund increase next year. Or should I say you are gonna see a $75,000
but
increase?
didn't
you're
I
seeing
either
it.
see or hear people, very briefly, conversation, should we take our some of our MERS costs and put it into a separate line and not be pulling it from each individual? I
The
think-
retirees, you're saying.
Yes, I think that's a valid discussion. Now, we may not change it, but I think it's a valid discussion and a valid identification of what our costs really are.
Right.
which
You'd have a
would-
line item for the cost of the retirees.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps,
Yeah.
maybe where our insurance is, we might put an additional line in there. It doesn't have to be there, but
But it,
pull it out of the individual activities.
but all in all, the general fund's gonna get hit next year.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. Big
Just
time.
Probably at least $75,000
At least,
increase
yeah, at least.
over what we did this year, which we budgeted a little low this year to begin with. So we're
The clerk's office would like to clarify the bill that way. I mean, I would like to see where the active employees are for the departments and then the retiree
In a
unfunded
different line.
liability for each division, so that when it comes up as a question,
Mhm.
we can see it clearly.
Right, everybody can see this is what the retirees are costing.
It's just what line item we're gonna pay that out of.
Write up a proposal, we'll
Yep.
do a
But, I think,
motion at one of the next
just what Tony said, when you look at this, the defined benefit, the time contribution, I mean, I think it's come time that we close the defined benefit and go all new hires defined contribution. We're not gonna see anything for 15 years. None of us might
No.
be here.
We won't be here.
But the thing of it is, in 15 years, it's gonna be a gigantic. It's gonna be a gigantic move, but you just can't keep delaying it. It will come to that time.
Absolutely correct.
It's just what it is. We have to do it. We're gonna take a little hit on it, but it's the only way somebody's gonna be awful happy 15, 20 years from now that we made that decision, if we can make that decision.
Well, we
Well,
certainly can on the non-union, it's negotiable on the unions, so we gotta
think
negotiate
about the
that
fact
with
that
them.
things are better over in the sheriff's office because we did it 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just gotta happen. I mean,
All right, so we're gonna address this for budget time is what we're probably gonna
Yeah.
talk about it then and how we're gonna address continued, and we have union exposures, we have all kinds of stuff that's gotta happen here, and as far as closing the new hires, you can't just close them. I mean, you
well, you
can,
can for non-union,
for non-union we can,
yeah.
yep.
But I mean,
absolutely.
it needs to be across the board, if
It
we
really
can.
does, yep,
Gotta
So-
start someplace.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked about it for 2 years now,
Mhm.
and 2 years has gone by.
20 years.
Yeah.
Well, we
I
closed
mean,
one, right? We did get one closed. in
Yeah,
that
but, I
process.
mean, it's just gotta happen.
Either that or everybody's gonna die off, it's gonna.
All right, moving on. So, Fund 516 budget adjustment. I don't know what that
Cheryl
is.
will
Is that Cheryl?
Yeah, right here, here's a copy if you don't have one. It should be in your packet though.
I don't have that.
one. Don't have one. You know what?
Yeah,
Don't have one.
do now.
Current budget revenue.
Just to correct the fund.
Okay,
So we need a motion for a budget amendment. Well, it'd be better if she's here to explain it, I guess.
Sheila, do you know what this is about or how this works?
Was that the money that you guys,
No, this is a current budget, it's a change of the correct fund 516,
right,
budget amendment request.
how much?
Revenues 171, expense, current is 171, 171. The amended is
128,000.
299, 299. With a new
Oh,
overall
the increase
budget
of
bottom line of
290,
470, 470.
Is that the money that was requested? for-
There's some money from,
The DTR?
requested in our, for
Yeah,
2020
it's just
budget.
amending it 'cause you guys are asking for that.
Right, it's amending it so that money's available for them.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
that's right.
Whatever you
Yeah,
guys-
Yep, you're right.
yeah, it's amending
My
it so
bad,
that
sorry.
money's available for our budget.
All right, so we need a motion
Support.
for this? Who made the motion, you?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Support, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Greggy,
Yes.
Manette,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes,
Gothier,
Yes,
Brumman.
Yes.
taken care of. All right, resolution 2020-16 is,
So
so,
moved.
thank you,
I'll second.
thank you. That's the one I'm looking at right here. Is this the ratify and confirm actions? COVID-19, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's open for discussion. I think everybody knows what's I got an email, I think most of you all did, from Mac, that since the emergency orders were changed to now, the legislature has made some statutory changes, that now we need to do this by resolution. So we're pre-approving or pre-whatevering all of our
Previous meeting.
previous meetings. Now, we didn't have any where commissioners weren't present.
Correct, but my understanding of it is it.
You didn't let me finish.
Impact, oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't have any that had no commissioners present, but we did have public that were making comments. And then talking to Tom, he said probably just be safe to go back and approve them all and say we did it all under emergency order and therefore we're good to go.
Right.
Just housekeeping to meet the new legislature. Now,
So
did you
we're gonna
have
fill
anything? Marty?
I'm gonna fill in the blanks here.
Yeah, the clerk will do that, correct, Trina? You guys can fill in the county and,
Yeah, can you just repeat who first and seconded that?
who, Dan,
what?
you did the.
Carolyn,
Thank you.
and I seconded.
Carolyn and Gary. Now, it does ask for a list of all the meetings that we were, you just want to put every meeting we were Zooming. When, I guess if the board, I think it's when we were closed, we were Zooming.
No, we started zooming about
March.
No,
Just gotta go on YouTube and look back
Yeah.
and see when the first
Yeah.
one was.
We'll do that the first date and our last Zoom meeting, the last date,
It's about June.
and,
Well,
We've
you
been
can
zooming
save,
to
just
Then are we
mark it
going
down
to
the whole
continue
year.
zooming?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Why don't you say for the year 2020?
Because we didn't.
Well, I know we didn't, but you just covered that,
But,
right?
but give a start date and through December 31st, 2020.
We'll have to do a new one at the start of next year.
It started in April then, didn't it, Dan?
Zoom meetings?
I don't have it in front of me.
Does the resolution have a time period?
Yeah, if I was gonna read, I
It
forgot.
was April we stopped.
In conjunction with the state of emergency on March 18th, the governor issued the executive order that allowed us to do this. Subsequent orders extended it. Therefore, in light of the October 2nd Supreme Court opinion, Alcona County affirms and ratifies all actions approved by the, I don't know who the is. I downloaded this is stuff right off of Mac.
Tom reviewed it, right?
Yeah. And he said, yeah, it's a good thing to do. Why does it-
Maybe the Alcona County Board of Commissioners.
I guess.
My
The
initial
county.
reaction was in opposition to this. But
Well, we were legal, but then, and technically, we aren't legal now, since all those executive orders were unconstitutional. So if we zoomed and did anything, I think it, like I said, it more addresses commissioners who weren't present. But as Tom said, just do it and cover you.
This
just in
covers
case.
the,
Yeah,
the public not being here.
Oh,
Right, so-
Commissioner voted via Zoom.
right. Commissioners that weren't present and voted
right.
Cause even
technically are now, those would have been unconstitutional votes.
when
and-
Dan was gone, he was gonna come in, but he didn't. So
But he didn't.
we have not.
No, never had that.
Right. So,
Thanks, Dan.
and to answer your question, I don't think we have to do it for the whole year, because now with the legislature made their new law, we're good. Now it's legal. We don't need to do that. So we just need to go back and cover
I see.
from when the executive order came into effect, gave us the authority
To when it was deemed.
to when it was
March 18th,
unconstitutional.
2020.
You get that, Trina?
Mhm.
And those are our meetings that we were,
Okey-doke.
just to make sure we're, all our votes mean something. All right, so any other questions?
Nope.
All right, roll call, please.
Renee?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Gothier?
Yes.
Brumman?
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
Motion carries, good. Now we don't have to go to prison. That's nice. All right, FSU agreement for extension services. Is that in our packet?
Yep.
So this is coming. Thank you. You didn't have the other one. Okay. Did anybody take a look at this? Has it changed anything, or? I did not.
I think all that changed was the dates.
Yeah, I don't think
And the
it's,
cost is just what they're allocated from their, what's it called, millage.
What's their, do we want this to go by Tom first? Is there a time on this? And should we? I'd like to know that 72,625 didn't get, not
I
right.
can go look.
Has anybody got that quick?
Just look up the general fund, general fund real quick.
I mean, just a, you know, a
You
little,
mean his rate?
No,
no,
the
how much we,
the 70, I think that 72 is,
You need to look at the
I
millage.
did,
of it.
I think it went up a little bit because I think Les's pay went up a little. Oh, no, that wouldn't be,
oh, I don't think it
No, he
went
gets
up.
paid by,
right, he gets
Mileage.
paid by, yeah.
well, it's up to the board. Do you want to approve it as it is?
No, let's,
Did you look at the general fund?
I'm rebooting or something.
I don't know if I got it pulled up.
when did that millage pass? It was in August.
Yeah.
I don't think it changed. But you gotta look.
Staffing costs were budgeted at 1%, were they not? Or actually, she's a union employee, so her
Yeah.
rates increase.
Yeah, that's
on our end.
Yeah.
But this is for the other staff that are there. Is
Right.
there an increase in Julia's wages? I thought that was mentioned at a prior meeting. That has nothing to do with this.
We want to
Look
set
it
this
up.
aside for
Yeah,
now?
Set aside while you're looking it up.
Yeah.
While you're-
All right, let's move on. Snow removal.
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation from Dave,
support.
building grounds.
Was this the snow plowing and the shoveling, both, or
Yeah.
going to be two
Yes.
separate?
John's and.
Johnson Maintenance and Cozen Ranch.
So,
Johnson Maintenance.
so a motion to accept the recommendation and contract with John's Home Maintenance for snow plowing
Right,
and Chosen Ranch for snow shoveling.
right.
Correct.
And you supported it, Carol? Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Carries. All right. Last I got is kiosks. So there's been some discussion about kiosks, where we're at. So we are putting in a request for kiosks through the CBDG.
It has
grant.
been submitted. I do not have a response back from him. I'm very frustrated right here. I sent him a letter after our meeting, an email, after our meeting on Wednesday afternoon. I sent him another one late Thursday in the day. And I was gone Friday. I sent him another one on Monday. And I have not received anything back. I haven't checked this morning. Well, that's not true. I checked about 7 o'clock this morning. Haven't checked since then.
So if I could maybe, and Gary, if you want to let me start first. It's the kiosk, yes, how they're going to get utilized was the question. I don't think there was a consensus with the board on the, at least my opinion wasn't, that because we get the kiosk means we're going to shut the building down and only allow people in through kiosk usage. I think the kiosks were gonna be a tool to be used. Maybe they'd only be used for the court system. Maybe there'd be a different way. I don't think we'd gotten to the point of saying, since we're gonna order them, we're automatically also saying we're shutting the building down to kiosk only entry. That was my opinion. I wasn't there anyway, so. I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in, or, I think that discussion has to happen.
Okay, let's go down that path. Then you would only be protecting the people in the building on court days. Is that a path that, does that reflect the approach that you are suggesting? Or that you thought was being suggested?
No, I protect everybody every day.
Then how would you use the kiosk if we get them?
I'm not saying anymore, because there's other people here that gotta talk besides me, so.
Well, I guess my clarification is when we, and it says right in our minutes that at this time for consideration of CBD grant monies were discussed and a recommended list of expenses to be considered were presented. There was, and we talked about the kiosk and we voted yes for the committee to go and see if those were able to be funded by the grant.
I think the answer to that is going to be yes.
What? Yes, I know, that's what we did. I
That they
understand.
will be funded, yeah.
Okay, but on the same token is now, in my opinion, after me thinking about this, and we already had discussion of, okay, somebody comes in, they sign in the kiosk, and 10 people follow them in. That stuff can happen, and are they really gonna give us what we really need? And I can tell you, I'm more in favor of hiring a security firm to guard our doors and to physically take what's needed for people to, and allow people to enter only when they pass, taking out all mechanical. I'm afraid we put kiosks in and we're gonna end up having people out there working them anyway. And if a security firm can be covered, and it covers our 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is, and they're gone. We're gonna buy kiosks, gonna do this stuff, and then they're gonna be sitting around in storage after this thing's over with. I don't think we're talking about trying to make this county building secure forever. If that's the case, then that opens up a whole different
Well, that was,
set of scenarios.
that was brought up by both John and Dave, that would be a building block towards greater security from the security committee.
I would foresee the kiosk being utilized for the courts first. So, in talking with Dave, could it be set up where a kiosk would be placed in the hallway and you couldn't get into the court hallway at all unless you went by a kiosk and even maybe a security guard?
Where would you put it in the hallway?
Like at the lobby, I think was what Dave was saying. We could so you can get to the jury room, right by the copy room.
So you couldn't get to the
clerk's office.
Couldn't get to the clerk's
No,
office.
the public wouldn't be able to get to the clerk's office
Okay.
either. So,
I
and then
just wanna
everybody,
understand it.
so then that lobby area would be, everybody would come in there. If you're going into court, you're gonna have to pass through this. We put the burden on the courts to say you wanted it, you come up with some money to help pay for it. We see how that works for the courts and see how the kiosk works, see how it all goes together.
Now, how are you going to block your other set of stairways?
Yeah, and we can block the stairs. He had a way to do that, and then he had a plan to block it so you can't come up through the back way.
So,
Because it seems like we're,
devil's advocate, so if you were going to utilize the lower level courtroom, you would go down the main stairs, walk through to that, would the stairs at the old main entrance, really, do I understand those would not be used?
right, I think he said those would be.
You
have to be
can't
blocked.
block them.
Well,
For fire safety.
Yeah, I think he was gonna block maybe down here somewhere on the other side, maybe like we had last time. There at just past the bathrooms.
But if I'm going to the small court, I have to get past there.
Well, so if you're using the small core, it's gonna get utilized and you have to change it all. But you know, that's on a case by case basis. I mean, it's a lot of hoops to jump through. You know, I talked with Department of Health. Department of Health does none of this. They don't, down in Harrisville down here, they got nurses, they got people coming in every day to go see the nurses, to go see for whatever reason. And I said, you guys screening people coming in? No, we don't do none of that.
Which is
But I think-
mind-boggling.
But I think where this is coming from is the Supreme Court, because Jen Lewis had said that the Supreme Court is what's pushing this to be done.
Sure, I think you're right.
So that's where this is all stemming from, not the health department. So.
No, I wasn't saying because of what the health department, I'm just saying,
No,
you know,
but-
they have exposure too, and they haven't deemed
Right, but
it.
they don't have a court. We have a court, so that's where this is stemming from, is the Supreme Court.
So
that's-
do the people, so my thought is, do the people who want to just come in and go to the register of deeds and can't get their temperature right, or can't, you know, I gotta get
It's the
interrogated.
courthouse that, you know, it's the courthouse, and if the money is being paid out of the grant, it's not costing the county anything, and we're not having to put someone on payroll.
Well, I'm with Dan. I don't think they're gonna work right. They're not working right at the school. They have to have somebody there who actually takes the temperature, retakes it, and make sure. And we're gonna have people standing at our door in front of a machine going, I'm not sick. I don't have a temperature. And somebody's gonna have to go out and with a thermometer and check them. And so we're gonna have people tied up anyway. I mean, you might as well hire somebody to run the kiosk.
And then when it's over with, you just let them go. I mean, it's a clean, I mean, if it's the courts that are causing this, then let's find a way to make an entrance to that court where it's inaccessible, except for the court. I mean, that makes all the sense. You know, I mean.
We
The
do
grant
have,
is securing the whole building, it's securing everybody.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
we do have some individuals, some department heads that are concerned with people being in the building that have not been screened. I just share that with you. There's not a wrong and not a right answer for this.
It's just, we could end up sort of nickel and diming. I mean, we've already done the best way to cure this, which is if we feel like there's a risk to our people and to the public, we'll just close the building. And we'll go back to emails, telephone calls, and do it that way. Are we going to do, well, we'll do a little more than this, or we'll do a little more than this? I mean, if we're truly worried and if there's an uptick, then let's close the doors like we did before and we'll function that way again. I mean, there's no.
Okay, what I think I'm hearing is that you want to, I would prefer to contract this out rather than hire.
Absolutely.
Right.
But to contract for a body, a human body,
Or
to
two.
be screening as the court needs or feels it needs to be screened. And
To me, that makes sense. I mean, you know, I don't know if we are at the point where we want to make this whole building like Tawas, where metal detectors and all that. I just don't think we're there. And I think we're going to just, the kiosks and that, they're just not going to work. To me, you contract out with a security company, they have a person at the doors, they do it, one person goes through, they're the ones that handle it, and we don't have to deal with it.
well, I've heard two different things. You're saying at the door, you're saying at the hallway.
Well,
Well, I was gonna use the courts as the guinea pig and see how it works.
Okay.
So we run it through the courts, we do their people and see how is this gonna all work out? And if it works, then, and the risk is still there, then we will. If we had to, we'd move it to the front doors,
that's a kiosk.
the kiosk and the person,
But to
Or
handle,
both.
Whoa, you just said the kiosk.
or both. I mean, if you're gonna, as Sheila said, if they're paying for it anyway, and you wanna do the kiosk, and you can pay for the people also, so you have a guy who's gonna run it, you're gonna come up, you're gonna kiosk, and you got a temperature. Here, let me do a manual on you. Nope, sorry, you can't
if
come in.
if we have department heads that are worried about security, which I understand, we have a court system that needs the security done, then contract out to a security company, let them have a person upstairs and downstairs. It's covered by the grant and everything's covered. They're gonna check people as they come in, they're gonna screen them. They're gonna do whatever we have in that contract and it's over with. We can have this whole building protected by a security company at the doors.
Okay.
End of story.
But when you say security, you're not talking about you're talking about COVID-19 security.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Okay, then let me ask this question. Is it acceptable in your thought process that a body, a warm human body, does the temperature check and asks the appropriate questions, the 3 primary questions, and then takes name and phone number or name and address?
It opens the door and lets them in
Okay.
when they pass.
Or says,
To the
Yeah,
courtroom.
or they say they left. And it can do the whole building and it covers everybody's concern.
and you're, again, I want to make sure I'm understanding this. You're suggesting to start with.
I would rather start with the court instead of the whole
Just
building. Yeah,
dealing with the court
because they're the ones requesting it.
and the lower level is.
So you would only contract them on the court days, is what you're saying. Isn't the court open every day?
Court's open every day.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, so if you,
Okay.
Do we have time to get a quote from a security firm and get it submitted in time to be considered for?
Well, one of the, one option
Can we get a quote from the sheriff's
that
department?
Gary
You don't have no
pursued,
pen power. you
and
know.
correct me if I'm wrong, if I understood correctly, was that we may be able to get somebody through ACCOA.
Well, yeah, I know I talked to
Possible.
Len about it. I mean, it's a possibility, and he had given a price at one time. I mean, you can always go back and ask again. I mean, you're really not looking for anybody more than just temperature and questions, you know, you're not looking
No.
for an armed guard.
no,
Um,
the public has to understand that they're not gonna get into the building unless they pass that.
well, the building or
No.
the courtroom, see, because
Yeah.
I'm
The courtroom
going
area,
this
the court
courtroom
area.
area.
Okay.
I don't want to go with the building. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we all hired in for public service and public
Well, who's gonna
service has
monitor,
its
who's gonna
risks.
monitor if they're coming in and say, okay, I'm going to the clerk's office, but yet they're going to the court? Who's gonna monitor when they get in, once they
Well,
get in?
if we
Well,
put
they wouldn't
that,
get past the gate into the court.
Oh, you'd put a,
Yeah, you'd stop them from going south.
oh,
They wouldn't be able to get past that.
they
I mean, I know it can be done, I'm not trying to make it
Register
simple.
deeds office and downstairs, but something that would run across from the copy room across to the north edge of the counter, or actually to the wall of what is the clerk's office. Something that would run across there, probably, well, I don't know. if it-
So what we're saying is we're concerning ourselves more with the courts than with the department heads that are worried about the COVID-19 exposure possibility.
That's what I
think
would
that's
go
where
with.
That's what, if that's the way we're leaning, but
The prosecuting attorney?
He's fine with, he doesn't screen now, he said. Yeah, he didn't care either way.
I mean, there's gotta be some firms that you can call up and they can give you what it is. I mean, I don't know. But to get it accepted to the grant, I mean, and to get that figure into, you know,
So, does the board concur that the committee can move forward on finding someone and hiring a contract to secure the court area when there is a court day?
if the cost is covered by the grant, I would be. I'd second that motion.
Yes, the cost being covered by the grant.
Yep. If that's a motion, I'll second it.
And I think it could be, so one of the reasons, I thought I heard Jennifer say that they're directed to screen all their court people, but they don't have the manpower to do it.
Right.
Correct.
So their main days are Tuesday, Wednesday. Right?
Maine, yeah.
Thursday.
Thursday's a busy day
Thursday,
too?
frequently.
Monday and Friday when they're filing.
Yeah,
So,
they're almost every day.
It's almost every day.
Well, I mean, is there
so
a
would there be
point
some
with the
days when they
volume?
would be able to take care of their own screening?
Craig?
Yeah, volume wise, it can't be high volume every 5
I'm going to
days.
say no, because the person's going to have to be out.
Can I ask what the Supreme Court is specifically asking? Because
I
Supreme
haven't seen
Court
it.
filings all day long, so what's considered court?
Yeah. It's every day. As far as I'm concerned, it's every
It's
day.
every day, I think, yeah.
Is that, Jen, are you on?
I'm on.
Okay, can
You gotta, go ahead, explain to us what the court is asking of you and thereby you asking of us.
With an expectation, we're screening the public, just like we had talked about previously, and that is getting, for contact tracing purposes. And so, court days, we have our high volume, which is what's difficult for us to manage. I know that initially the board had talked about having, it being within a certain particular office, and that would be manageable on a non-court day. On days that we have full court sessions, which are every other Tuesday, every Wednesday, and every other Thursday. Well, and it kind of varies a little bit because we've had some backlog. And if there's a trial, those are days that are our high volume days. And those are the days that we do not have the manpower to try to cover it. I mean, for example, today I've got 2 people out sick because they are symptomatic and we can't cover. We're trying to cover court today as well and get screenings of people who are in the courtroom. It's just, it's a difficult task for our office to do, for sure.
Okay, you've heard the discussion of having a barrier that would that would prevent anyone getting into the copy area or the clerk's office or any other area south of that. In other words, perhaps a barrier that would run from the copy room, the middle of the copy room, across the wall to what would be basically the vault for the clerk's office. If we stationed someone there on your heaviest days, which you would identify, do you perceive that as something that would address your needs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And on your non-court days, you would hope you would staff them fine.
We would be able to manage people coming into our office for sure on non-court days. Just like we had talked about previously, because, we're not welcoming people into the individual offices. It's just not able to manage the courtroom on a court day. Attorneys are coming from all different directions and people who are coming in. We're trying to keep a rein on how many people show up for court because we have limitations how many people should be in that room. But some days it's just a lot going on and it's hard to keep it all day. And yes, I think if you had somebody who was standing there, if you had a couple people, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, or however you opted to do it, some days we're done by noon, most no, but on the days that, court's done, we're usually done between 3:30, 3:34, rare, but definitely somebody could hand them a piece of paper, make sure they do it. And we've got plenty of the thermometers Davis provided that I think came from the EMS office that they donated to the courthouse. And we have the thermometers already that we would need that don't actually touch, the appropriate equipment. Yeah, that would work. It's actually ideal because it does not, we talked at a meeting last week or the other day about the concern about people who would walk in past a kiosk with someone else opening the door. There is a record of that happening because there's pictures taken. And then, if we see these other people in the courthouse or the courtroom or however, that would obviously be a problem that we would be experiencing. If you have someone standing there, that's not going to be a problem. They would all be addressed.
So then does the committee have the authorization from the Board of Commissioners that once we get concurrence that would be covered under the grant, that we can pursue hiring somebody on a contractual basis?
Well, we'd like to see some numbers, yeah, but, the contract.
Well, as long as it's
But
covered
yeah.
by the grant,
Yeah.
I'm not concerned what the cost is if it's covered by the grant.
So then can we, if you want to see that contract before it's signed,
Well, we're gonna have to see it anyway, this board,
Yeah.
we're gonna want the contract, not the committee.
then I'm saying that that's another 2 weeks.
So the committee can get a price of what it's gonna take to meet that requirement. get a number, submit it, and then it's gonna come back to us to sign it. Correct?
which is gonna be a minimum of 2 weeks unless you allow to have a special meeting.
I would have no problem with a special meeting myself.
We're gonna have to have it in order to approve the contract.
Right,
Or wait 2 weeks.
right. No,
And I don't wanna have, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to move, now, I've still gotta get the confirmation that it's okay.
Right.
And God knows that could take me 2 weeks at this point,
so I think
Upset
you made a
over that.
motion, and I seconded it, right?
to pursue that, yeah.
Pursue that.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Jennifer.
I think you made a motion on that.
All
Thank
right, any other discussion? Thank you. Any other discussion?
Can I have a reading of the motion?
You know what the
since we had a
motion
problem
says, Trina?
last time?
I don't really know what the motion says.
Thank you.
I think the motion after discussion is that the committee is to move forward for contractually an individual to screen those people coming toward or into the court area on court days. Did I miss something?
Right.
Seek funding from CGBD grant.
Pending funding.
Yeah.
Okay, can we say it as motion to pursue hiring security pending being covered by the CBD grant?
Yeah,
Or do we need to specify? first?
Nah, I think that's
I
good.
think that's good.
They're happy with that.
Okay.
I just, last time we had a motion, that's why we had the problem with the
Right.
28 one, that's why I asked for a reading of it.
It's been, that was the motion, it's been seconded already?
Dan
Has?
seconded it.
Okay.
Oh, that MSU on the,
I haven't died yet.
Carolyn, you were first in.
sorry.
So there's a motion and a support. No other discussion?
I think I made it.
Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Carries. All right, so that is taken care of, and you'll keep us in that loop, right, Cameron? And emails? Okay, I don't have anything else. Although I wrote Jim Baker. What was Jim Baker about?
That name's familiar.
All right, must have been a note on one of the other things. All right, finance report.
We're cranking through budgets.
Okay,
And
I'm
then,
gonna have to go to the road commission and pry it out of their hands, because I can't get it.
we'll talk after the meeting about trying to schedule a,
Yeah, we have to be,
What we-
everybody's got, I mean, I would ask everybody to be
yeah,
as flexible as possible,
Mhm.
because we gotta get on this. I mean, you know, we were hoping to do it this afternoon, but, yeah,
Do you want us to look at a date now, or?
yeah, I guess I would, that would be nice, good.
Okay, it's not letting me in.
I can, let me go look on mine.
Let me try something else.
I had. What about dates for you? You're the one, you, Craig.
Me, it can't be today, but and probably the next 3 days is tough. Next week is probably better for me.
Well, Monday? What about Monday?
Monday I got something in the morning, when it's a county, oh no, I got a meeting in Alpena, Monday morning. Monday afternoon, maybe.
well, one day at 3:00.
Okay.
Can you start any earlier, or not really?
Not me.
Okay,
Monday, 3:00.
3 o'clock?
works, Yeah. Does that work, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay, Monday, 3.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Personnel report?
we have nothing at this time.
Treasury report?
Working on budgets, working with, the clerk's office and finance on the budgets for 2020 and 2021.
Clerk's report?
Clerk's office is just really working on finalizing the election from yesterday. We had a 72% turnout in voters, and we really just want to thank the township clerk's office staff, and definitely John Hartley for all the hard work and dedication and helping get the numbers in and the election successful.
How big was the turnout in 16? Do you have any idea? Was it about the same rate, or was this one even higher than 16?
I'm sorry, Gary, I don't have those numbers.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Okay. Communications, have those in there. Trying to get John down here to look at this. In our notice, okay, are those in your packets? Yes, ma'am.
I would ask that, I think one of the nicest things that I had when I first ran was the gentleman that I think he was, at the next meeting asked that I be provided with all the necessary documentation for upcoming meetings, the agenda and minutes and so on. And I would ask that that be emailed out to the new future commissioners.
Okay. All right, committee reports? Yeah, that's still not working. I mean, you got me locked out now. Committee reports, Gary?
Millen Township met, they're gonna have a whole board turnover, well, except for the treasurer, the supervisor will be new, the clerk will be new, and I believe the trustees are now going to be new. But other than that, they're in good shape and they're handing things over well preserved.
All right, anything else?
Yep.
Dan?
Just good thing coming out of Alcona Township is that they Marlena just received, and I haven't got any more information on it, but notice that, they received a $40-some thousand grant, be looking at the mouth of the river. So, that's a good thing.
They'll be able to dredge it twice.
Huh?
They'll be able to dredge it twice.
No, I mean, I think this is gonna be really looking at, eventually, hopefully it comes down to a pier, but, this is the right way to, this is the start of getting, everything going on, what's gonna happen with the mouth of Black River, so that's a real positive thing. So, other than that, that's all I got.
Adam, do you have anything?
Nope.
Carolyn?
Had the court negotiations in Tawas last week. Had a meeting with Jesse Campbell and people from Timber Lakes, looking at some various concerns there. And I sent you all, forwarded to you the congrats for 211. They were the only one, Northeast Michigan 211 was the only one to meet the state requirements of better than 80% on the response time on the calls for COVID.
What's his name, Gary?
All right, public comment?
I have a few questions. In regards to the cost allocation plan, I've sent that out and it needs to be signed and turned back in. The CRLGG grant paperwork, I have not received for the breakout of the 92,000 that we had authorized. And then I had asked for the security committee members. I got no response. Is there a listing that you can provide?
I can do that. Scott Stevenson's the chair.
Security committee?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I needed to, just need.
What do you-
That's what I put in my email. I'd asked for anything, any information, so who I could contact.
So
I
what,
did not hear anything on it, so I appreciate that.
on the CRLGG, what do you need? I mean, you need the board approved is public safety. You just want the dates that they're gonna use it for?
No, what we're gonna need for the grant, for you signed that we expended that entire dollar amount. I just need the dates, the times, the payroll, who it was paid to.
Who it was paid to? Cause Scott does have the pay periods, but he didn't have, I mean,
Well, it would be what added up to the 92,000 that we spent.
got it.
So that's what's gonna be required for the auditing purposes.
All right, I'll have him get, because he did have that. All right,
And then the cost allocation plan,
that I don't have. Is that the new cost allocation plan?
the certificate needs to be filed.
I did not
You
see
all
that.
got it in your email.
Did we? I didn't see it. All right. I can't tell if anybody's on. Is anybody out there else? Scott Rice, Scott Stevenson, anybody got anything to say? I can't tell because I don't have a computer to tell if anybody's on.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Scott Rice, go ahead.
Tomorrow, Thursday, at the Health Center here in Harrisville, the Public Health Department District 2 will be having a drive-through COVID testing session, 9:30 to 1:30. You don't need a doctor's script. You don't need an appointment. You don't need to have insurance. You just need to show up between those hours with a valid ID, and they will do a COVID-19 test for you.
What kind of test is that, Scott? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that much information from Health Department, and the National Guard will be assisting in providing those tests.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Scott. Everything else going well?
Everything else is going well.
Good. All right, anybody else? Scott Stevenson, are you there? Nope. All right, hearing no one else, we're gonna adjourn this after we get a commissioner's additional comments and
Well, we
concerns.
gotta handle that MSU.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to go look in the
Yeah,
computer
go
real
see
quick?
what we, make sure that number
If
is
you
right.
can't, can we handle it Monday?
No,
Take
well,
me 3 minutes.
Okay. Because we're gonna have to advertise the meeting.
yeah, it's gonna be a full board budget meeting. It'll be a budget workshop, or we're not gonna approve anything. I guess we want a meeting.
Workshop, yeah.
Well, if we have the information on a contract,
So we wanna advertise as a meeting.
Well,
Budget
we
meeting.
have to advertise it anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what we advertise, how we advertise it.
Well, that way we can do something if we have to.
This is the MSUA that he's going to get, and then if you could sign that, because the proposal passed.
Right here.
Pathway, what avenue is going to be taken regarding the request from the chamber?
What pathway for trying to get the chamber some money? Are we adjourned?
No.
72,625.
72,625, and it is 72,625.
It's the same as this year.
Yep, so that was all I was curious about. So agreement for extension services?
I would move to approve and authorize the chair to sign the agreement for extension services as presented.
Second by
Support.
Greggy.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dan. Yes.
Opposed? Carries. All right, did you get that, Trina? All right,
To adjourn?
yes. Hearing no disagreement, we are adjourned.
No,
Oh, wait, hold on, we need to do a new CBG motion.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
For,
The one that allows the committee to put the stuff together
Didn't we
and,
just do that?
oh. Yeah, we
Okay.
just did that. Didn't we just approve we just did a motion that allowed the committee
Okay.
to submit?
no,
that was for security,
Oh.
that was for the courthouse, or the courtroom.
Only that? So now you want,
Right.
so,
Everything, we'll bring up, I have no qualms with saying, gentlemen,
so what
you
are
want
you
to move
saying?
forward?
What do you think?
Well,
need to
when
do?
we started this, we were talking about the language in the motion from the minutes.
28.
From the minutes are wrong.
So do we have
And you
to,
want to change that
do we
motion?
have to have a new motion to do anything for you? or do
No,
we-
I'll just call and say, we need a meeting.
Oh, okay, I
That's,
see.
Yeah.
that's what it's on.
So we're good there.
And that will
That's.
our
better.
progress will be based on the availability of having a board meeting.
Got it.
All right, so we're good.
Fine with that.
And you just need a majority of the board at that point in time, anyway, if you had to have a special meeting.
All right, we're adjourned.
I'll make sure I get-